When I say that the kingdom is at your fingertips, it's so you know that it's your turn to at least stretch your hand. You also must do something to God's liking. Not everything will be given to you in the mouth, and without doing anything, without taking a jot from the law that God has given you. You must be faithful to all God's commandments, 'cause God has given no one permission to sin, or to the sinner of deliberately ignoring God's divine law and sacred decrees. It's not that it's a difficult or impossible thing. You just have to know how to choose wisely between putting your hand in the fire or into hot waters, or discern well before making life or death choices. If you want God to see you with favor, you should follow St. Paul's advice. Act in a spirit of wisdom and prudence to reach the all-seeing heart of God. But God knows the whole lot, and God does not underrate your effort. If you should call yourself a Christian, then listen to Jesus Christ. That shows you the right path to live a life of faith and righteousness, as one who keeps God's commandments beyond the justice of the Pharisees, without taking a jot from the law that God has given you. You must be faithful to all God's commandments, because God has given no one permission to sin, or to the sinner of deliberately ignoring God's divine law and sacred decrees. Not to killing is also not to insult at your neighbor, nor despise or mistreat your uncomfortable neighbor. The worship that pleases God is not the offering as enticement that calms your conscience for having offended whom you consider your adversary and enemy. Committing adultery is not just acting out of lust, but to act without self-control like a pack of dogs that does not dominate and does not subdue their base passions, and gives them free leash without understanding reasons, snatching what they see and what their lusty hand caresses, without thinking that everything obeys purposes that are good and holy in the eyes and hands of God. There is no easy way out for the divorced man. Not even for women who are divorced is it a fair excuse. The law stands when the at-fault party is you, when the victim is you. God protects you so that you will not be exposed to the sin of adultery. A person's word is worth a lot before God. That is why it is not necessary to swear in vain, not to yell more words with oaths. What is true and what is false is false. Thus say yes when it's yes and no when it's no. Whatever is over, that is inspired by the evil one, without taking a jot from the law that God has given you. You must be faithful to all God's commandments, because God has given no one permission to sin, or to the sinner of deliberately ignoring God's divine law and sacred decrees.